systems are offline.
eRadio Live, powered by TCS Wi-Fi.
When you hear that music, it's time for Tech Thursday, 5 minutes past 3 o'clock on this very last Thursday for the month of May. As always, joining us live in studio is Kaine. Kaine, a very good afternoon to you. How are you?
Great, thanks Eon. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for another good Tech Thursday. We've got, as usual, some epic stories to go over, and I still am able to use my WhatsApp. So
I was just saying to you off air while the music was playing before the news, your WhatsApp's only got grey ticks now, so your blue tick stopped working. Now we know there's a little bit of limited functionality.
I hate to break it to you, but I turned my blue ticks off. So WhatsApp has done nothing after
What did you do?
the policy.
Did you switch it off?
I switched it off.
Why did you switch it off?
Because I have lots of people contacting me, and I'd rather just get to the message in time.
That pressure to reply once those ticks are blue, right? Yeah. Okay. So you actually did that. That's quite interesting.
I did.
I thought you had limited functionality.
Well, here's my thinking, right? So WhatsApp says, hey, if you don't accept our privacy policies by such and such a date, we're going to turn off functionality on your phone. And I thought, geez, that's really, it's kind of mean, you know. It's a really
very
harsh way of making you make a decision. But I suspect now that I've operated for a week, almost 2 weeks now since this update was supposed to be in place, and I've yet to see any significant kickback from the issue. I've seen no limited functionality. I've seen no more aggressive notifications or pop-ups, nothing like that. It's literally just black and white, same WhatsApp as it's always been, and there's absolutely no adjustments been made to my experience. So I suspect either not enough people have not accepted the policy, so to create limited functionality in a competitive marketplace. I mean, someone like WhatsApp, you turn off the ability to make group calls, you turn off the ability to make phone calls, you turn off the ability to make video calls, you turn off the ability to use emoticons, you turn off the ability to check your voice notes. You do any of that, and suddenly your competitors become so much more attractive.
Of course.
Your competitors are now the ones that offer video calling.
We didn't have to deal with that crap.
So how is Facebook going to turn off limited functionality without losing users? Well, I don't think they've cracked that one, because I still can do exactly the same as I used to.
Well, we will see what happens next week, Kaine. Next week, your phone probably look like a Nokia 3310 or something.
Only on battery though. Can't charge past 50%.
Yeah, I think some stuff's going to happen. But, we actually spoke about, on Monday in our social media chat with Carla, we spoke about some new scam going around. Somebody sends you a code, and then they ask for the code, and then when you send them that code or you click on it, then it locks you out of your own WhatsApp, and then that person can take over. I didn't even know that was possible. So look out for that scam.
That's scary, eh?
That's not WhatsApp's doing. That is the people's doing.
Yeah, no, that's some otherwise clever hackers in the building there.
And you know what, just before we get going, you know what really, really got to me this week? What was it, yesterday or the day before? These spam callers, these robocallers. Someone gave my number again, and they were having this feast of calling me. And I was reading the sport report from my phone screen, and one of those calls came up in the middle of it. So I clicked the red button, say cancel the call. But then Truecaller kept popping up with the swear word. Somebody named it a swear word. And then I almost read that, because I was in the sport report, and then that swear word popped up. I almost read that. I had to push the music back up. So my sport report vanished completely. And I was taught a lesson. You have to put your phone on flight mode when you're reading stuff on it when you're on air, and it's a time sensitive thing and there's no take two. It was terrible, I tell you. I didn't know what to do. Next time I must put the person on air somewhere in the middle of the sport report. Have some fun.
Make it global. Be like, okay, we're gonna hear from one of our listeners right now. This is Robo Tom. He's got something he wants to say to us.
Robo Tom.
To make a purchase, press 2.
Okay, well, maybe I should do that. I was thinking afterwards, afterwards you always come up with ideas, but in the moment you don't. And I was like thinking, oh man, I should have had some fun with it. Because, I didn't have any fun with it. But anyway, it was awful. I was still reading about, I think it was cricket. And then all of a sudden there's this P word popping up. Somebody named it the P word on the Truecaller.
He's obviously irritated a few people.
Yes, absolutely. You should see their massive report, robocaller. But anyway, so yeah, that wasn't cool. That was this week. That went down this week. My phone's on flight mode right now. I forgot about flight mode. It's actually so nice. I mean, you can put it on flight mode and still put your Wi-Fi on. You don't need the mobile data. Unless you're on mobile data, then you can't put it on flight mode.
Really? Can't you put it on flight mode if I'm...
No, it doesn't work. They don't work together.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It needs a cell phone network connection, you see.
Oh, that's interesting, eh? I never knew that. More you know.
What have you got for us today?
Today, we're taking another quick look at, we spoke about it a few weeks ago, smart cities here in South Africa, and specifically what makes a smart city. Because it's all well and good to say this city is smart, but is it smart because of its technology, or is it smart because of its people?
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it because of its people? Probably not.
The Reserve Bank of South Africa is currently investigating the feasibility of a digital currency for South Africa. So, Bitcoin for South Africa.
That's nice.
Not really Bitcoin, but a coin
similar
built by South Africa.
Very nice.
Security company in Johannesburg is now going to track criminals in South Africa using drones.
Ooh. Yes.
Drone surveilling estates and things like that.
Yeah, I think ADT is already doing that in towns where crime is a problem, like in Sedgefield here in the Garden Route.
Yeah.
It's a massive problem there, hey?
Yeah.
I mean, you just stand outside, they actually steal you. They will steal you.
They'll leave your phone behind. Something to remember you by.
Yeah, but they actually do that. They use drones because they have to get to those sand dunes and they can't always get up there, so they use drones. It's quite cool.
Do you think as a last resort, they if they say, our police are 3 to 5 minutes out, the drone's calculated he has about 1.5 minutes of running until he's disappeared. Will the drone just descend upon him and just land on him? Just hit him, boom, knock him out?
I'm sure it will. It's quite cool, actually.
That's the next step.
Imagine seeing that at night, this red thing coming at you, because they make quite a eerie noise when they're up close. And then these red lights.
You just see someone running.
Which is quite intimidating.
Just full on, full footing it down the flipping grass, and there's just this drone just following over him slowly, and he's just full pace.
But I just hope that the person flying the drone knows what he's doing, because I mean, imagine they're chasing a criminal, and you're living close by, and you're having dinner, and all of a sudden this thing comes through your window, and it lands on your table.
Or it just starts doing some aerial tricks, like it's tracking him, and then it just loops of it and does some spirals.
Yeah.
Another drone comes into the picture.
What a show.
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting. Just wait until people start trying to shoot them out the sky.
Yeah,
it's all,
I mean,
look
saw
at
that
kids.
on a movie.
Kids will throw stones at a car.
Yeah.
Now you got drones in the sky. Someone's going to try to take a shot at
Absolutely,
their BB gun.
yeah.
I can't not see it happening.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Some drones are going to fall from the sky. The sky is falling. So next up we have, this is quite cool, emotion detection software. AI emotion detection software for cameras. So it can look at you and know what you're feeling. Quite interesting. Yeah. What does that mean for us, and what would we do with it? And do you know who already has it? Beijing.
Oh, okay.
But you know how serious they are about surveillance.
Yeah, because I know, I mean, those phones can already recognize your face, so I'm not surprised that it can now tell you how you're feeling.
Exactly. So everyone knows Elon Musk decided to make an automated car. Automated driving on 4 wheels. You don't even have to hold the steering wheel. Well, now Google backed up Merlin Labs, and they've just revealed an autonomous plane technology.
Whoopsie.
Self-driving planes.
Oh dear. But wasn't that the car that crashed?
A car that crashed.
That self-driving car that crashed with the people.
Yes. A plane can crash as well.
So what? I mean, if you can't do it properly with a car, how's the plane going to be different?
Well, I think there's a lot more obstacles for a car, But the thing is, for a plane, there's one
I don't
very
trust it.
important takeoff and one even more so important landing. That
I'm
has
not getting
to be
in. I'm
performed.
sorry. I'm not getting
You don't land and take off in a car. It's just constant driving.
That's a suicide mission, I tell you.
I'm not going to be on no signal call without my hands on the steering wheel on that plane. I'll tell you that much. That thing will be automated. I've still got my hands 10 and 2.
I'm sure. I just hope that when you're on it, you can sort of override the automation and switch to manual mode or something.
Can you imagine
in
you
case
try
something
and it
goes
just
wrong?
says no? Like give me back control. No, you're not equipped enough to fly this plane.
Yeah, you
It's like,
see,
that's where the
what I'm
future's
worried
going.
about. The
Well,
robots are taking over, man.
and anything that's autonomous that can be manually overridden stands to risk someone else manually overriding it. It's not just the plane flying, you know. If I can go and intercept what the automated flight path is, then what's to say someone can't do that same thing remotely? And if they do, well, that's 9/11, but worse, because maybe you have 30 autonomous planes in the sky. You could really do damage with that. They can reach anywhere in the world, or at least far reaches of the world in a relatively quick time.
Yo.
You do not want to risk that. So no, keep it automated.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone drive it or fly in it. They just deliver goods, maybe like Amazon crates or something. That's a good automated. I'm not flying in an automated plane.
Yo, but can you imagine the fire when that thing crashes? Because you the week before last, we spoke about what it takes to put out a Tesla fire. A bloody swimming pool. Can you imagine what it will take to put out a plane fire?
If the plane is
ocean.
electrically powered.
Yes.
It would burn in the water. The
Yeah, I'm
water
sure.
would catch on fire. If you try to put water out of fire, you can't use water. That's the hint.
Yo, this is concerning, Kaine.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
more
gonna have
worried
to
about
see.
it than that bloody rocket that was coming down a couple of weeks ago.
What do you have for us, Jan?
Well, today, a very interesting story about Tinder. Did you hear about the Tinder thing? Mm-mm. Well, let me tell you. It was my 3 a.m. read. They want everybody to be vaccinated, obviously, around the world now with the COVID vaccine. So it's quite a clever thing, but it kind of forces you as well. So anyway, you will now, in the next couple of weeks, there will be a rollout on Tinder where you will be able to see if somebody has been vaccinated. So there will be an extra little tick, maybe like, let's say, a little green tick.
Who verifies
or something.
that?
Yeah, I don't know how they know that you've been injected.
Maybe in America, but in South Africa,
no.
I try to add my grandfather to get registered for the vaccine, and they didn't accept any ID numbers before 1940. But the thing is,
they assume you're dead already.
You have to be over 65. So if you're between 65 and 82, then you can register. Above 82, you couldn't. But they fixed it now. But I mean, if that's the kind of system we're working with.
Yeah, okay, let's just say it's going to be in America. Because here it's just going to be,
I think people would fake it, you know?
Yeah, but then you'll have a little tick. And then also, once they know you've been vaccinated, you will get access to premium features.
Doesn't that feel a bit social engineering?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very socially engineered.
It feels like a Black Mirror episode, actually.
Like you're trying to, they've taken away the ability to connect. Like you almost have to be vaccinated in order to connect. I mean, that's really...
to meet the love of your life, you need to have a shot. Do
we have any good competitors for Tinder? Is there like an alternative out there?
Yeah, but that's the problem. They also have some of these competitors joining Tinder and doing the same thing. So you will have a little thingy, it's a little needle maybe with a green tick, and then people will know, oh, okay, this girl, dude that I like.
Can you imagine it's a little syringe icon?
I think so.
Can you remember? Imagine 2 years ago, someone sees that, they think like, what does this icon mean?
Yeah,
like, it's a syringe. I mean, it can't be.
Is it a lab experiment?
Drugs? We don't know.
Drugs probably are. But maybe this person is a druggie or something.
You would think that. I just don't understand why.
Okay, so you'll see that thing, and then you'll know he or she's been vaccinated, and then also that person will have access to premium features instead of paying for it. So you'll see more matches I don't know.
What premium features can you give a vaccinated person on Tinder?
Yeah,
I have nothing against it. Maybe the person who's meeting a potentially not vaccinated person has the right to know whether or not they're vaccinated, which does bring up a good argument. You're putting yourself out there, you're meeting other people, you're engaging socially. It might be worth knowing whether the person you're meeting is vaccinated. But does Tinder have to come out and provide that feature? No.
Yeah, it really, like you said, Kaine, very true what you said there. It sounds like social engineering.
Yeah, create a government like ID card or something that a user can verify that this particular person has been vaccinated, but don't make it part of your whole self-sales pitch.
Yeah, I mean, how will they even know that you've really been vaccinated?
They won't.
You need to send a photo or what? But you know what, Kaine? This is actually very scary. I don't know if you've seen the episode of Black Mirror called Nosedive.
I've seen maybe.
It is on Netflix still.
Okay.
If you want to check it out, if you have some time. That episode is all about a rating system. You can actually see the person's rating above his head. And if you have a rating below 2.5, you're basically seen as an outcast. So you need to have like a 7 or 8 or so to be socially acceptable, to be invited to weddings, to access buildings and all that kind of stuff. If you go below 2.5, how do you lose your points? Any criminal things, any penalties, any traffic fines. If you're an asshole in town, maybe you drive in front of somebody, then they can actually rate you instantly and go beep and then -1. And then you're like a 7 or whatever. Eventually, those things add up and you end up below 2.5. You can't get in anywhere and nobody wants to socialize with you.
So like you have below 3 and you can't get into Wimpies. Below 2.5, you can't get into banks.
Yeah, exactly. But, Kaine, I mean, that's an episode. It's fiction and everything. But, every day it kind of feels like we're getting closer and closer to something like that being a reality.
I read about a guy who was trying to start something where you could literally rate your ex.
Yeah.
You could rate...
You see, there it is already.
It sounds so absurd, but it's happening,
And I spoke to Chris about it as well, and our web developer, and he also said that it's actually already happening, this rating system, because people are judging other people by their Instagram followers, and if you don't have a specific amount of followers, you're kind of seen as an outcast, and you're not invited to parties and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially in the digital world.
So that's already happening, actually. It's just in a different way. So it's so scary because Black Mirror, I mean, we spoke about it. They plant these chips into your head as well, and then you can rewind and review your whole day. I think we're not too far off that being the reality in the next couple of years.
You see, the thing is, it's exactly that, and the catalyst for that happening is people really care about the ratings. It's not just like the ratings are there, let's use them. Like, they really care about them. If you gave a person the opportunity to you always got to put it on a very social level. So let's say you meet someone new, you guys are interacting. If you had a platform that you could go to see what that person's previous relationships had said about them in a reviewing process, they have X, Y, and Z
it's
problem.
Like a CV.
They're very self-centered, or they don't really care about anyone else's issues, or they're just there for a good time or whatever. You would see all of this, and the thing is, people would use it. People would appreciate it and probably find benefit from it. But at the same time, it drives human psychology down a direction where it's like basing your own. Normally you would see someone, you would react to them and you would have an opinion on them. Now that process is being taken away and being replaced by information that's just given to you.
You're so right, yeah. And that person doesn't even stand a chance because we change all the time. So who says if X, Y, and Z, if he was aggressive 10 years ago, that he's still aggressive, or an asshole?
Exactly. If you had to choose between two companies, one company has a 1-star rating, one company has a 4.7-star rating. You haven't used the company yet, you've already made your decision.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
just no chance. You're just instantly judged.
That's mad.
That's not cool.
Also noticed when I was doing YouTube videos as well, I had this one person that, I don't know why, but they really didn't like my videos for a time. So every time I would release a video, they'd come on with like 16 likes.
I remember that.
Yeah, they would just jump onto the video, dislike it more times than it has views, so they have like 4 views and 16 dislikes. And then, you know what? Everybody who watched the video would dislike it. They would dislike it because it's the impression that's been created. When the video didn't have or doesn't have that person coming on, maybe he missed one, then the video would do well. But as soon as that person has depreciated the front-facing value of that piece of entertainment that the person's about to expose himself to, their mind is made up. I swear, if you went and read IMDb reviews of the newest movie you're going to watch, and they're horrible reviews, it's a great movie, but horrible reviews, you're probably going to have a completely different perspective when you watch that video.
A lot of times those reviews are wrong. I mean, we all have different tastes, and sometimes you read horrible reviews, but the movie's actually good. And sometimes it's the other way around, but most of the time it's the first.
It really does happen often, and it makes you think, like, how far down this tunnel are we going? I mean, Instagram released that thing where they took away the like count. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, he actually told me.
Some of my accounts still have the like count, which is weird, whilst others don't. But not having a like count there makes a big difference. It really makes a massive, massive difference because it changes the way that you perceive what you're looking at. And if it's that easy to change the way you perceive something, can you imagine how much your perception is altered on a day-to-day basis with reviews and testimonials and opinions and fake news, and your perspective has changed quite easily and your perception is influenced.
Kaine, it's happening, eh?
Yeah.
It's happening. It's inevitable, actually. What have you got for us after the break?
After the break, we're taking a look at what is a smart city and South Africa's attempt at potentially making a digital currency.
Get the eRadio SA app right now for free on the Google Play Store. Entertainment radio on the go.
So, Kaine, now we're going to talk all about smart cities in South Africa. When will we ever see that happening?
So we spoke about it a while ago, and we spoke about potentially Lanseria becoming a smart city, even some potentially a place in Durban becoming a smart city, and KwaZulu-Natal. And the thing is, what is a smart city and what does it mean for us? Is a smart city something that is, got this approach of high technological advancements? Do they have automated cars and planes and automatic robots and kettles that turn on when you whisper to them? Do they have all of these things, or is it determined based on the intellectual ability of the country? Well, of the city, and the answer is it's actually a combination of the two. It's how well we can use technological infrastructure to actually do things, to analyze data, to make informed decisions, to use technology in order to move in a particular direction. And that is what what is trying to be done now. So President Ramaphosa's first State of the Nation address in 2019, he encouraged South Africans to dream big as he announced his own dream of creating the country's first interconnected smart city. This would entail the establishment of an urban settlement defined by the sustainability of its investment in human and social capital, transport, and ICT infrastructure and economic development, all of which would contribute to a much higher quality of life. So its concept and reality is surprisingly attainable with the right infrastructure and connectivity. So what they're basically saying is they're trying to create a smart city whereby the city and its technology actually is used by the people more than just as a utility, but it's actually vested into the population of that city and how they can better perform, organize, get from A to B, and utilize, the new modernized infrastructure in that city to be better, to work faster, to work smarter, to manage money better, to spend less time on wasted things like slow public transportation and all of that stuff. So a smart city is actually the embodiment of a very efficient, technologically advanced city. It's not just a city with a lot of tech, and it's not just a city with a lot of smart people. It's actually a city with smart people working with smart tech, and the entire city able to benefit, not just certain individuals. So it'll be really exciting to see, because they're trying to do this before the end of their year to try and have a sustainable development plan in order to create these smart cities. And I thought, there's a time that every city will be a smart city, and we're right now in the transition. We're in the transition phase between being a more urbanized, traditional city and being an exceptionally smart city. And if you look at somewhere like Beijing and you look at China, these are smart cities where the technology is used to do more than just make everyone's life better. It's actually even used to survey and to rank its population by a merit system. In China, if you walk across a road, your face is then put up on a big screen as a jaywalker, as someone who's just broken the law.
What? Are you serious?
So if you jaywalk across the street, your face is gonna be the face that everyone sees that has just committed this crime.
How long is it there for?
It's there. I don't know. It's there until you run. You got to make a decision.
God, I just hope it's a good shot that they're showing the people.
I hope they don't see your face. So,
that's I didn't know that.
So
that's quite
while we're in this transitional phase between not a smart city and a smart city, it's the community's opportunity. It's the inhabitants of the city's opportunity to make sure that while they're becoming more technologically advanced and being able to utilize technology better and benefit their life, they don't allow their social life and their the things we hold so dear to being us to become a part of that smart city dynamic, whereby you can be judged on your relationships, where you can be judged on your crime, like on your small petty crimes like white collar crimes, a merit system, all that sort of stuff can easily be created in a smart city because the infrastructure's there. One of the most valuable pieces of information you can have when setting up a new store is foot traffic. Foot traffic gives you the ability to determine which parts of a city are more busy and receive more foot traffic. Foot traffic also allows you to determine which aisles in a shopping center are the most popular. So being able to ascertain all these additional advantages, we must be able to still maintain the humanity part of it, where it's our ability to be ourselves and our ability to do things that we always do without letting technology completely take over from us. If we let technology dictate what we find as valuable or not valuable before we've experienced it for ourselves, like a video with a lot of dislikes, you're not living. You're not actually experiencing. You're actually following. You're following no particular single person's opinion, but you're not following your own opinion. So it's that transitional phase that we have to keep an eye on,
and you've got it right, Kaine.
And it'll be your kids that are actually affected by it, because they'll be born into it. You have the ability now to see the difference before and after. Your kids will just be in after mode,
That's not cool.
Same as we are. Phones and computers are all normal to us, but give it to a 75-year-old. They're going to have a hard time learning as quick as we did.
Absolutely,
we were born into it.
You're right, so imagine what it's going to be like for the kids.
Yeah.
We're going to start seeing the beginning of it, I think, and then we'll just...
Exactly.
And good, I'm glad that we'll go plop, because I don't want to see this weird sci-fi shit happening here.
Some cyberpunk stuff going on. Next up, we have South African Reserve Bank has embarked on a study to investigate the feasibility, desirability, and appropriateness of a central bank currency. Here's something interesting before we even get into what the central bank currency might be. What China realized when they were working with crypto and they saw crypto coming in is they realized that, wait, money goes from the country into crypto. Whether they're buying crypto from an international entity or whether they're buying crypto from a national entity, money is coming out of the bank and it's going into crypto, and they can't track it. Once it's in crypto, it's effectively gone because there's no means to actually track it. So what China thought was a good idea is if they created a central bank digital currency, a centralized currency for the country, then when people purchase crypto, they purchase through that currency, and now they can track what's going on. There's this intermediary between their money and moving into crypto. It gives them a little bit of control. Now, I don't know if that is South Africa's reason for wanting to develop a central bank digital currency, but there are definitely some real use cases for it. We've spoken about it in previous videos. We're moving into the digital currency era. there was a time where currency was backed by gold. You could take a note to the bank and you could get gold in return from it. Then came fiat currencies, where it's no backed by gold. You can go to the bank and you can give them $1, but they're not going to give you $1 worth of gold. You must go sell or buy gold with $1 in order to get that value. So fiat actually has no backed value. It exists because we've associated a value to it and we use that value, but it doesn't traditionally have a back value. You can't redeem all your money for a physical asset. You can choose which physical asset you spend your money for, but you cannot redeem it. And in a traditional kind of environment, when if they're going to create a central bank digital currency, your opportunity is going to be to go into that digital currency, purchase that digital currency, and then move into another digital currency. But for South Africa, the question that they have to ask is it better to have a digitally backed currency backed by cryptography and blockchain, or is it better to have a digital currency backed on the SWIFT system, which is over 10 years old, to be backed on just a digital database, which is 10 to 15 years old, and it is secured by connections which are heavily encrypted and heavily secure? Or do you rely upon a new modernized banking system, which is digital currency, whereby you're no longer relying on SWIFT? You're no longer relying on database structures from 10, 15 years ago. What you actually have is you have a digitalized version of a ledger which cannot be manipulated by employees. It cannot be shut down by a central authority. So it makes sense to say we as a country, or any country, should be questioning, do we want to rely on fiat currency as our digital currency, which has very little to no security? The security has been established, but it is nowhere close to as secure and trustworthy as crypto. It's just a black and white comparison. There's no bias in that comparison. Cryptocurrency is, especially for something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, is more secure than your traditional banking system, because your traditional banking system relies on authority and permissions, and if someone has the right authority and permissions, they can do anything they want in the bank system. Anything they want. If they have the right permissions and they have the right authority, they can go in and they can make adjustments to people's accounts. They can move money. They will get caught, no doubt, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Crypto is not possible. So to create a digital currency for a central bank might actually work towards making it more secure. So in a statement on Tuesday, 25 May, the central bank said that the study will look at the feasibility of using the CBDC, which is the central bank digital currency, as an electronic ledger tender for general purpose retail use, complementary to cash. A retail central bank digital currency can be defined as a digital form of cash aimed at providing the best attributes of both cash and electronic payments. So that's where they're thinking of creating, and it's not an easy job to go. If you're the person in charge of making this decision, it's not an easy job. You're in a modernized world. We're at the brink of technological advancement. Digitally for currency, we're at the brink of technological advancement. There is no case study from 20 years ago, 50 years ago. There is no history books on 150 years ago, 300 years ago. It's now. So any decision that they have to make, any thought process that they're going through at the moment, any kind of analysis that they're looking at, is the same analysis that every bank in the world has to look at and has to decide if they're going to do it or not. And I think that's exciting, because when there's no right choice, clear right choice, then no one can be super strategic about where the money goes and where it stays and who benefits the most. It's new, it's exciting, there's opportunity, there's entrepreneurial opportunity. What more can you ask for? We're in that transitional phase. This is the time to think about, if South Africa were to launch a central bank digital currency, as a consumer, would you buy it? What would you use it for? These are all questions that the central bank has to ask themselves. And if they can facilitate that, it might bring enormous benefit to us. It might take away our ability to buy crypto. It just depends on what they're intent on using it for. If it's for control, if it's to reduce the amount of cryptocurrency, the amount of money going out into cryptocurrency from South Africa, then it could have a malicious overview, or it could have an extremely beneficial overview. the government, if it had a central bank digital currency, what would they be able to do? Well, they would be able to pay everyone instantly R1. Instantly, R1 to everyone. And it would be possible. You could send half a cent to everyone. You could send half a cent every hour on the hour to everyone. You know, it gives this opportunity for micropayments and micropayment transactions and tracking of these micropayments. And if you're driving your car and you're contributing to something, you could earn revenue from it. So if you're using a government road over a private road, for example, who knows what the future holds, you could be incentivized for every mile you drive on the government road. You won't get paid up every week or every month or every 25 months. You'll be paid up every hour on the hour as you drive on the road, or every minute on the minute as you drive on the road. And that's the kind of financial technology that is being created. And what we will use it for, who knows? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We'll keep track of it.
Yeah, please. When can we get it here in South Africa?
I know. Let's wait and see.
Or something going to go missing again.
What else do you have for us?
Now that we're talking about missing things, fraudsters stole over 8,000 Rand from an MTN subscriber in a me-to-you money scam, where the criminals now bypass bill limits to maximize their takings. It's not an isolated incident, reports My Broadband. Other MTN subscribers have also complained about fraudulent me-to-you money transactions occurring on their accounts. It's unclear how widespread the fraud is and whether MTN has been able to address the weaknesses in its system. But to explain what MTN subscribers should look out for, one of the victims spoke to My Broadband. Obviously, he was anonymous. He said he received a usage details document with his usual MTN invoice in May. This didn't happen before. Contained in the new usage details document were me-to-you money transfers of 200 Rand per day. These were the fraudulent transactions. Then he provided a screenshot. A debit order which included me-to-you money transfers went through a few days before he received the bill. It was therefore not possible to stop the debit order. What is of particular concern is that there's a bill limit of 500 Rand on the account, and this bill limit was completely ignored. So that bill limit kind of protects you, because you can't go above 500 Rand per month on your account. But it somehow did.
Yeah.
And now this guy's got to pay.
And he has to pay, eh?
Yeah. Because me-to-you is basically a airtime functioning, airtime sharing function on MTN. If you want to share airtime, if I want to send you airtime, or whatever, me-to-you.
I love how the onus is on him to pay.
Yeah.
You know, you've overwhelmed my limit. I had a limit in place to protect me in a scenario like this, and the limit didn't effectively work, or your system allowed whoever manipulated what happened to me to manipulate the limit that is effectively in place. But to be able to charge an account, if let's say you pay 500 Rand a month for your phone, to let your account enable itself to go to 20,000 Rand in a single month, that's 20x what you were actually signed in at. You actually signed a contract that is now in 1 month gone 20 times higher than it originally was, accounting for almost all 24 months that you're on the contract, and you must pay. Oh, that's such a good deal.
Yeah. Apparently it's being investigated by MTN, and I hope that they will fix it, because I'm also a MTN subscriber. But if you are an MTN subscriber, keep an eye on your bill.
What's more astonishing is Vodacom and MTN just released their fintech apps, right? Which are competing against each other effectively. So MTN releases a fintech app and what? Can't keep control of the money off of the fintech app even. You know, their money's going missing and they have a fintech app. I don't know what to say about that.
Oh no. This is just not cool, man.
Yeah, speaking about making sure no money goes missing. Security company in Joburg now using drones to maximize
tell me all about it.
surveillance. Do you want to have a look at it? Look how big that drone is.
Ooh,
It's about the size
it's a
of...
bloody alien spaceship.
its wingspan is about 2 meters, I'd say.
That's quite big.
So it's
I thought
taller
it was
than
like
you.
a normal sized drone. That's a massive thing, man.
You know, this little thing with a camera
No, that's
at the
a
bottom.
bloody mini helicopter, man.
It's thinking chase something, eh? No, it does. So, private security group Fidelity says it has become one of the first providers in South Africa to use drones to track criminals in suburban areas. The group said that the drones will first be trialed in the Greater Fourways area for 2 months and then extended into other suburbs. Will Bartman, Chief Executive Officer for Fidelity, said that the offering consists of a mobile command center with a qualified drone pilot and a fully equipped state-of-the-art drone. Can I just take a minute to say how cool that job must be?
Yes, but I'm so glad you mentioned qualified pilot, because that rules out the thing. I mean, it's bad enough if one of those normal drones come through your window. Imagine you have these lovely glass stacker doors and then one of those massive helicopters comes into your house. I'm so glad that you've got a qualified pilot at least.
Imagine an unqualified pilot chasing someone wrong.
But you must have probably have some sort of aviation license if you want to operate a thing like that, eh?
Yeah, well, I've seen some stuff on YouTube where people actually take a VR headset and they connect it to this drone.
Okay.
And then they have a full VR experience.
Okay.
Of flying this drone.
It feels like you're flying.
Fully. And they do a bird cannot be precise.
Yeah.
They will go up into the air over a tree. They'll drop down out of the tree. They'll go under a jungle gym and through the handlebars of the jungle gym.
I want to see that video.
It's mad.
It must be an amazing experience.
It looks. If I could do that, I would not stop. I would come out of there nauseous.
It beats any drug trip.
Any day you can fly. It's literally a flight-based experience. You will experience how it is to fly, and they use remote controls and everything. But it's amazing when you're watching the guy actually flying this drone. And this is a lightweight drone, not a heavy. This is a heavyweight drone. But the lightweight drones, they actually use momentum and the thrust that they generate to perform these aerial things. So they'll go really fast and up, but they'll turn off the engine, so it kind of becomes weightless and flips over something. They'll re-engage the engine and take full control over it again. So it's a mixture between those two techniques.
Does it operate on electricity or is it petrol?
On battery. And they do it for about an hour sometimes.
So you can still fly that thing in load shedding time, because I think that's when you really need it, actually.
Oh yeah. Imagine you had a drone that could go pick up something from the shop.
Yeah.
I watched a guy, actually. He had a little RC remote control little car, and he would put it was a bucky, like a little remote bucky, like a tiny little one, and he would put a container in it with a note and some money, and he would send it down the road 300-400 meters to the petrol station. He would go in, and the guy knows the vehicle, so he'll go and he'll take the note out and he'll go and buy whatever the guy wants, and sometimes he'll like hold it up at him, and then the RC must move a bit to give him an indication that's the right thing. Then he goes and puts it in and it drives home.
Oh, that's cool.
Me, myself, and my RC going to the shops.
But that's so cool, actually, eh?
I think it's really cool.
But aren't they delivering takeaways and that kind of stuff already overseas with
Amazon,
drones?
In Amazon.
Like the drone knocks on your door and you open it and it flies in and it delivers a thing.
Yeah, and then it
like
goes
that.
off on its way.
Yeah.
How crazy, eh?
The
world is changing very fast.
It's like a sci-fi movie, actually. It doesn't feel real.
And speaking of a sci-fi movie, Merlin Labs, backed by Google.
Ooh.
Google's an investor for Merlin Labs. So they flush with cash from Google and some others. They announced their plans to implement its tech in King airplanes. And that tech will allow the autonomous flight of planes. Getting into a plane, going from A to B, no pilot. I mean, pilots right now are just kicking themselves. Like, we cannot catch a break. COVID stops flights, and now they're replacing the leftover flights with automated flying. I mean, it's harsh.
Shame.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's not easy being a pilot, right?
Some poor guy was sitting there and he was like, when I see my pilot going into his 747, he just turns on autopilot and sits there. He's like, right, we don't need the pilot. We just automate it. I don't know if I could honestly trust a plane landing.
But we don't even trust it with a human in it, man.
No.
So how are we going to trust it with a robot?
I mean, the ability for technology to monitor sensory input like elevation, pitch, descent time, all of that stuff can be much quicker than a human. Human can look at one thing at a time. Computer can sort of look at multiple things at a time, or at least get feedback a lot quicker. So if it's a perfected system, it will fly better. Tesla did boast 10 times less accidents than traditional cars. So, I mean, we're crashing less, burning longer.
But Kaine, what if you're on a plane, like one of those planes now, and it's totally automated, and all of a sudden it goes system malfunctioning.
It's no problem. The RC pilot comes out with his little remote control, and he just controls the plane from the ground. I'm joking.
Oh.
Like, it's completely lying.
What do you do then? I mean, what do you do? You can't speak to the robot and say, "Hey, man, get your stuff together."
Well, there has to be some level of manual override, because can you imagine you're in a plane and you realize something's wrong, like maybe the engine's on fire.
So
you go into the cockpit and there's just no controls.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day of a lady on a plane. She was just losing it completely because it was a really turbulent flight, and she's like, I want to get out. And they're like miles up in the sky. Where you want to go, sit on a cloud or what?
Just do a quick walk around the airplane.
Let me out. No, that's scary. That's the thing. You can get out of a car, you can kind of get out of a bus, but you can't get out of a plane. You just cannot. You
cannot die.
You have to stay
in a car.
plane.
If you need to jump out, jump and roll.
Yeah.
In a plane, just jump and fall. I don't think it'll work.
Or just have a backup parachute or something. I suppose that could help.
Yeah, parachutes are another whole story. I watched this guy who was tumbling out of the sky. He had a parachute, and he pulls the parachute, and it goes up, and it kind of just spins around like it's not working, like it's not opening, and he's falling, and he's watching it. And I thought to myself, wow, he's calm for someone who's been in this situation. So what does he do? He pulls his emergency chute.
Okay.
Gets tangled in the non-working chute. So now he's still falling, calm as butter. This guy is relaxed. He pulls his thing. He's falling, like, I don't know how fast. He pulls his parachute down, untangles it, takes his time, flips it, all good. Survives. And I just thought to myself, in that situation, you just see me in the distance, just flailing.
Yeah.
Just hands screaming the whole way to the ground.
Yeah. Not to mention what else, I'm sure you lose control of your bodily functions as well while you're up there.
No, nothing good comes from that. Do you know some people have fallen out of a plane, their parachute hasn't pulled, and they survived the fall?
No.
That's mad.
I saw that in a movie once, and then two guys, and then the one ate the other one. There was just one guy left.
That movie started hard, eh?
Yeah.
They started with falling out of a plane. It ends with being devoured.
Yeah.
Like a black widow.
That's hectic, eh? That's the thing. You just don't know. We all so reliant on technology nowadays, but in the end, human intervention is always needed. I mean, that's why we have customer service and support centers to help, because the robots can't do it alone. Why else do we have humans answering phone calls and customer care?
Yeah, exactly. But
when they kind of tell those people to go away, the humans, and let the robots take over completely, that's when I'm worried. Last week we spoke about the robot picking up Granny, Who knows what else it's going to pick up?
Well, speaking of robots, AI is now able to detect a degree of human emotion. A camera system that uses AI and facial recognition intended to reveal states of emotion has been tested in Xinjiang, in China. A software engineer claimed to have installed such systems in police stations in the province. And a human rights activist who was shown the evidence described it as shocking. The Chinese embassy in London has not responded directly to the claims, but says political and social rights in all ethnic groups are guaranteed. So what is actually being said here is Beijing has argued that surveillance is necessary in the region, and they have significant surveillance. So can you imagine surveillance that can pick up on human emotions? It might be a comedic thing, like where you're going to the airport and you're feeling very anxious, you're feeling very uptight, you're about to jump on a plane, and you're suspected for doing something because now you've been picked up as anxious and afraid and whatever, and that might save or make or break the day, you know. For one person might not get to his location, some guy with ill intent might not actually get onto the plane. In that light, it's good. But Beijing argues, and when I read this, I was like, damn, that's really hectic. Beijing has always argued that surveillance is necessary in the region because it says separatists who want to set up their own state have killed hundreds of people in terror attacks. Can you imagine that? As a city, you have to worry about people trying to set up their own state. So to avoid that happening, you got to set up massive amounts of surveillance. Like, I don't understand. It seems odd, doesn't it?
It is quite odd, yeah.
It is a bit odd that it's that significant, and you're surveilling millions of people for what, a potential 100,000 to 1,000 people that might have sign of suspicious activity. So I don't know what the next steps are, but being able to identify human behavior as a camera, being able to identify that, you can pick up on a lot of things. I mean, traditionally in any kind of secure facility, being able to do that might make or break the difference. I don't personally understand the activists saying, you know, this is a human rights violation, because all it's doing is detecting what emotions you're feeling and being able to give that information out. But the fact that we're able to do that just shows you how advanced we're getting with technology. Someone has built a system that uses millions of different emotions that have been attributed to defined feelings that person is having, and now that is, as the camera sees you, it's analyzing you against all those hundreds of millions of tests that it already has, and it's forming a conclusion based on how you're feeling.
Yo.
Crazy technology is
so
coming.
if you're not too sure how you feel, you don't even have to ask your girlfriend.
You're going to have an app on your phone one day, like,
how
tell
am
me
I
how
feeling
I feel
today?
Like, you feel sad, but don't worry, there's some happiness there somewhere deep down inside.
Then we'll play you a song. Kaine, that was so interesting. Thank you so much. Wow, just every single week I'm like, wow, you know, that was hectic. That was impressive. And don't go jaywalking in. Where's that place?
Beijing.
Don't go jaywalking, because your photo's going to be up
popular
all day.
for all the wrong reasons. If you do go jaywalking, at least have some branding.
Yeah.
You got to at least rep
Good
the business.
advertising, actually.
Exactly.
Yes. Just lastly, if you're an Apple user, you'll be pleased to know that next month, June 2021, Apple will be improving its audio on the streaming service for Apple. What's that? iTunes. Was it music? iMusic. Is it iTunes, right? iTunes, right? And
Apple Music or iTunes.
Yes, it will be lossless audio with spatial audio. So spatial is kind of, it's almost like surround sound. So your
it's like
audio
5D anime, like
that's
almost,
it, yeah.
Kind of.
So your sound quality is going to be awesome. Apple Music, Oliver Schusser, he is the vice president of it, says Apple Music as we know it is about to change forever. It's going to be the service's biggest advancement ever in sound quality. All of these 75 million songs in that library will be available to stream in lossless audio quality with Dolby Atmos indicating within the audio player seen in, okay, there's an image here as well. So that's awesome. That's your music's about to get really good. The quality's going to get really good.
I really
imagine
like
that in 5D.
things.
Yeah, I've listened to a few things on people put it up on YouTube in 5D, and it's
I once
just
had
like
a haircut in 5D.
really,
Not a real haircut, like
Yeah,
it
but
was
like a
fake
virtual.
haircut. And
Yes.
it felt real. It felt
like it's
so
going all
real.
around your head, eh?
And they didn't put a packet over my head, but they made it sound like they put a packet over my head.
Wow.
I believe there's a packet.
It sounded
on my
like
head.
it, yeah. When you have good headphones, it really sounds like the real deal. I once had a hairdryer going 5D around my head. It sounded like I was in the salon and somebody walking around me with that hairdryer.
It's next level.
It's crazy.
I got a new pair of headphones. They're called Lightspeed headphones.
Is that what you're wearing now?
No.
What are you wearing there?
That's just an earpiece.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm speaking to my guys in the tech room from here.
Say hi, eh?
No, I got these new pair of headphones, and I think they're like 7,500 rand
Sure.
for the headphone. But when you put them on, It's like a totally different audible experience. I mean, first of all, you get some headphones that'll actually remove background noise by playing sound. You'll have some headphones that remove background noise by actually removing the background noise from your ears, or from a perceivable distance from your ears. And then you get some earphones that even have bass in them, feedback, and all this sort of stuff. I mean, if you plug a pair of headphones like that into this 5D audio experience, you're going to have a phenomenal listening experience from your phone. That's to pay for. Also, in regards to Apple, because I'm an advertiser by profession, Apple recently made an update in their iOS 14.2 update, which makes it very hard to track what your ads are bringing back in terms of conversion. Facebook's in a frenzy. They're trying to figure it out, how to get by without this close tracking that is usually available. And for someone like an advertiser, we're now in the situation when it comes to iOS 14, we kind of don't really know how much of our ads are actually contributing to what success is. It's just a guesstimation. Oh my gosh,
it's a bit of a problem now,
But it'll be interesting to see how that advancement takes. So watch out, Apple. Right now, you're invisible, almost. But there has to be... Apple needs to make money. Advertisers like Facebook, and you're their bread and butter. There are other way to put it. You make them their money. So taking away their ability to make money brings on much more advanced tracking strategies, whereby you're using other apps to track. There's even some stories about very high-end advertising where if you're watching a traditional show on like an ad on cable, then a small low frequency sound is played, which your phone can pick up on and actually communicate back to the advertiser that you saw the ad while
Get out of
watching
town.
cable.
Are you serious?
Serious.
No.
It's a really advanced advertising method. It's not like retail.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's like your ears can't pick it up. Maybe your pet will, and then your dog acts all funny. And you can't understand why. That's why. Or your bird flies out the cage or something.
We don't know, but I thought that's super interesting.
That is super interesting. By the way, you won't pay extra for that new spatial sound thing coming to Apple Music. It's free of charge.
I've been paying for months.
They say you're not going to pay extra. It's just an added feature.
For the first month.
Yeah, probably. Kaine, thank you so much. Wow, that was, as always, so interesting. We actually went over time. Thank you so much. Let's do it next Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Sounds like a plan. I'll see you then.
Enjoy the rest of your week and also your weekend.
To all the listeners as well. Cheers, everyone.